Hello and welcome back to War Stories with B-Rax and Montana on this episode. I've got Montana back on here for episode 7. It's Monday, November 9th, 2020. And last time Drew and I were talking, he pointed out some discrepancies in my story. So I brought him on so he can clear that up because I don't want my credibility to go down. So what's up, man?
Which discrepancies was it that you
said something about my description of when you took the convoy to the dam, because remember you were like separated from us for a long time, and you went to the dam way before I flew to the dam, and so I'd like to hear your side of that story and maybe what the fob was like before we got there, or whatever you can think of, or even shit when we were boots. I don't care. Start wherever you want. Let's just talk.
Well, talking about going up to the dam, I don't remember shit, which is a big problem. That's why you're doing this podcast and not me. But what I remember is how when we got hit by the first IED that I ever got hit by, how it didn't seem like real. Like there was a huge explosion and the truck shakes, but there's no like real damage or anything.
So what vehicle were you in?
I was a big 7-ton.
Okay, you were in the back, or were you in the turret?
Beautiful piece of machinery. But I just remember, like, oh, do we just get hit by an IED? Is that what that's like? You know, and it was just a small one. Little did I know that they're gonna get a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just seems so surreal. I mean, I've been preparing for it your entire life, and then until it actually happens, you don't really understand.
Yeah.
And then
I know exactly what you mean.
There weren't a lot of IEDs for my convoy specifically driving, but it was the people that had gone earlier before us, because there was the people that left like 2 weeks before or like a month before. What was that called?
Advon.
The Advon.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the guys that we all went to Kuwait together, right?
I went to Kuwait at the same time you did. It was when we were at Al Assad that you got peeled off. And when you explained it to me in the past, you said it was all the shitbags, so I'm a shitbag. And then you guys drove off.
Yes. Yes, we are shitbags. That's another thing people at home need to know. Is that I was a real piece of shit. So.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but you definitely were on. You were definitely on the shit list. I'd say that you were on because you made one comment that didn't even. You weren't even saying an insult to anybody. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, everyone was talking shit about our team, like our team leaders and squad leaders and stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, hey guys, we should be. They don't really know what they're doing yet. This is their first time being leaders. And as soon as I say that, someone walks up. I think it was Trujillo, and he's like, "What the fuck you just said, bitch?"
Well, it was, it was also, if I remember correctly, our squad kept getting picked to do the shit jobs because our squad leader was a lance corporal. You get what I'm saying? Like, our squad leader wasn't the same rank as the other squad leaders, so our squad got fucked, and they were looking at his rank instead of his billet, which I ran into that problem later on, but...
No kidding.
So yeah, that's actually probably when you and I started actually hanging out, because I remember I couldn't stand your ass when I first met you.
No one could.
Yeah, I was like, who is this motherfucker? Because you're just overly dedicated to the seniors, to our seniors, like physically assaulting people.
It was like but you know what though? You always say that shit, but I was also the first one to tell them when they were wrong.
True, but you did beat up Brown. Poor Brown.
I did beat up Brown.
you over like not saying someone's rank or something. I actually wasn't there for that, but I heard the story.
We went boot camp style
I know. Yeah.
So when we show up so let's get a little backstory here, Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, explain it.
So I sort of explained it in episode 1, and 2, but Drew and I were in separate battalions at boot camp. You were what, second?
Yep.
And I was third, and so we were separated by a month. And when we got to the School of Infantry, we were separated by a month again because Drew got picked up maybe 2 weeks. Might have been 2 weeks. But I was there for a month. I think you were in SAT company for 2 weeks. And Alpha Company got to 2-3 2 weeks before us. I was in Breezy Bravo, and we got away with murder, including 2 dudes that stole some chick's car from a club and crashed it and knocked out power in Jacksonville. And y'all's Liberty and Alpha Company got closed, and mine just stayed open. Like, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah. All the rumors about Bravo Company, I just hated you guys' guts because we'd always get in trouble with like some fucking piece of shit in Bravo Company did this, and then next thing you know, we're all standing in fucking information for 3 hours.
Yeah, I got underage drinking. I got
like,
underage drinking, and I had to go to the colonel's office, and I got my ass chewed and shit.
You got an underage?
When I was in Bravo Company. We went out and we went to a steakhouse. This is a quick one. We went to a steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse or some shit. I don't know. Got hammered. Came back. 2 of us in a cab, or it was just myself in a cab because they wanted to go to the Triangle Motor Inn and get fucking hookers and shit. And I was like 19 or 18, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, guys. I think I'm just gonna go back to the barracks. Like that's bad. So I pull up, and the taxi cab drops me off. And Camp Guard, you remember those fuckers? 2 of them come rolling up, and we start talking, and one starts asking me questions about what it's like to be in a training company because they were still waiting to get picked up by a training company. And the other dude walked away and called the sergeant of the guard on me. And so he came, picked me up, brought me to the colonel's office, did a breathalyzer, fucking got my liberty taken away and shit. But they didn't charge me, so that's good.
That's it. That's a slap on the
Yeah, no, it could have been a lot worse, but as I said before, they're basically letting everybody graduate. Everybody made it through, including our buddy that popped for cocaine that still showed up. They just busted him down a rank and still let him come. But yeah, you were about to say something. What's up?
So the point of going through all that rigmarole of SOI is that we showed up, Alpha Company showed up 2 weeks earlier, and these guys were like sharks, our seniors, all the Lance coolies that had one pump on them. They were ready to like eat us alive, and they would play like boot camp games where you have like a speck of dirt on your floor, and they just like trash your room, or like if you mess someone's rank up, like everyone had like do PT, like they just smoke you right there,
and like shoot you with BB guns.
So
yeah, it was crazy. Like when we showed up, it was crazy, but then it just immediately stopped. I do remember. Well, we still got treated like.
Braxton had his daddy call.
That's not true. That didn't happen. The only thing that did happen was my buddy, some small world shit. I'm not going to say names, but I went to high school with a friend whose dad was a 1-star, 2-star general who actually my dad worked for. And so he called my dad into his office and chewed my dad's ass because Mark told him that some of us didn't have racks. Because not all of us had a rack. Some of us were like sleeping on the floor and shit, like in different rooms. Because we were in with like 2 corporals and they kicked us out or some shit. And so my dad did call and was like, hey, I don't give a shit. My son doesn't give a shit. He wasn't complaining. But his friend's dad is an important guy. And then he took over the 1st Division right after that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's way up there. So yeah, my dad got his ass chewed for our battalion commander fucking up, which I don't even think that's really a fuck up. It was hectic at that time. There was a lot of bodies. We were overstaffed because we were waiting. What's up? A lot of hazing going on, but we were overstaffed because we were waiting for the 2 pump chumps to leave. Like the super seniors.
Oh yeah.
A couple of them stayed. but I'd say 95% of them got out. Kind of like you and me when we stayed for a third one. But yeah, so you got to the dam. We're still back at Al Assad. You got to the fob way before us too, right?
Yeah, it's the first time we got shot at too. It was like day 2, and we're out of patrol, and a guy pops out around the corner and just shoots a couple shots. Doesn't hit, like not even close. It's just like, oh shit, this is real life. We got hit by an IED and got shot at in like 48 hours. Not even.
Yeah, it actually
probably like
took
30
me a
minutes.
long time to get shot at. It was
Which is another thing. Did you mention? Were you there when we went on that patrol just north? What was the north part there? We
Bonnie D.
crossed the bridge.
Yeah.
Bonnie D. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about? Where we take that? We're going down an alley, and we got shots coming from the palm groves.
So my first firefight was when we were in the back of the 7-ton, and we went down the roads like right up to the edge of the river, and we were in a firefight with people on the other side of the river. That was my first firefight. That's the one where Danbury got hit, and a couple other guys got hit.
Dude, how do you remember all this shit? Like, you're still
I
trapped.
don't know. I remember. I just remember it really well. I don't know why. I always wanted to write a book, so maybe I like focused on remembering it a little bit better, but I suck ass at writing, so that never happened. But
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So then you melded back into the into the platoon, and we were in different squads until Riley and Kreiser got hit, and then we became one squad. Like our two squads got split up, and some of your squad into the other squad with my former squad leader.
Yeah.
And then
So what did our squad end up being? What was it?
it was McDonald was the squad leader, and then we had Washington was a fire team leader, and Nation was a fire team leader. And we had Sears, Kim, Van Leer, Torres. Might be missing some. Hughes was our corpsman. Kim was with us. And I think Travis. But eventually Travis bumped over. But
so this is what I think why I have the timeline all messed up is because I don't remember exactly who was with us when. All I remember is my first time I feel like we got in a real shootout, or at least got lots of rounds impacting around us. Was we're walking down through Bonnie D. We're coming
is
like
a
back because we
foot
wanted to
patrol
like take
only?
a foot patrol. Yeah, we're walking around and we're going back south, and we're like, oh, we'll go down this alley because we never go back down here. We haven't been back down here yet, and we take like an L shape, and behind us, it's about I don't know, 7 o'clock is the palm groves, and they lead up north. We're like at the edge of them, so they keep going north, so they're all behind us. And I remember all these rounds start coming down, and I can see the dust kicking up from behind me, or like the rounds are coming up from behind me, and there's rounds hitting all around me. Paulus also got hit. Looked like it hit right between his legs. So I run. I look for some cover, and there's like a pile of dirt. You know, it's just like fucking dirt everywhere for some reason. Just piles of it. Well, I see a pile of dirt, and I go running, and I jump over it like some Rambo shit. And that's what I was like in my mind, like I'm gonna jump over this thing, and that's gonna look
It's gonna
so
look
cool.
so
I'm like
cool.
the man. I'm doing what they do in the action movies. And I just jump into a pile of like thorns. It was like a bush behind it. So I'm just like covered in like 30, 40 thorns that are just stuck in my uniform.
Huh?
And
Yeah,
it
I
was
was
so
not there. I was. Well, I
where
think
were
that
you
my
for that?
squad, because my patrol. What's up?
So this was before we
Yeah,
entered
that's
here.
definitely before.
Is
Because
what you're saying.
when on my first patrol, which I'd already explained pretty well, is when we walked up on that dude putting in an IED, and we like his IED was like 95% done, so we just like not captured it, but we like blew it up or whatever. And then the next patrol was when Riley and Kreiser got hit. So I only did 2 patrols in like a span of like 12 hours, and then they had to split us up because we were down to not enough guys. And you know, there's one. So once the integration happened, do you remember this shit? It came to me after I recorded the episode. One of the posts took a sniper round. We were on the patrolling cycle, I guess that same first one, and we went and we stormed that house. Do you remember this? And we like kicked down the door, and McDonald was like, "United States Marines, get on the ground!" He like yelled at me. And they're all just sitting at the dinner table, like looking at us. But he said that. He like kicked the door open, and was like, "United States Marines, get on the ground!" Like some shit out of fucking Team America or something, dude. I think so. He's big now, dude. He's a big motherfucker. He was always pretty big. For sure. We had a lot of gym rats in the squad, including our first sergeant who just blared gospel music and just fucking bench press like 350 pounds. You remember that guy? I can't remember his name.
I don't remember that.
But I remember him being like a psychopath.
Oh, it was the
Yeah, he was black. I can't remember his name though, because he didn't even say goodbye to us. Like that was what was kind of crazy about that deployment. Is like our captain didn't say bye to us. Like they just knew that we disliked them, so they just disappeared. Like as soon as we got back, they were just gone.
Yeah, that's what I remember from First Sergeant is I mean, you haven't gotten into it yet, but it was when.
Oh yeah, don't get there yet. Well, I guess we could kind of go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
No, absolutely not. So where are you at in your story?
I'm right before the clearing operation that we did when 2-4 came and helped us. So we got to. I mean, it's taken a pretty good time. I'm trying to be as detailed as I can. But yeah, being a boot on that fob was pretty miserable though.
Oh yeah, I mean we talked about it last time. Maybe not, but standing on post. Or when did you start talking about that? Because I remember sitting on post and being just like dead, just hours and hours and hallucinating. Like I would see.
Oh yeah, I mean I think the time we were at the fob was the worst time, and I remember I brought this up in one of the episodes, but Staff Sergeant Judd, he like just said like it's really important to make sure that being at the fob is better than being outside the wire, and he just like stared off into space, like, and I was like, I think I was the only one that caught it, and then as soon as we got to Iraq, I was like, this is what he's talking about. These motherfuckers won't let us sleep. All these dudes are using the showers and stuff that we're not allowed to use, and we're cleaning their shit for them. Like, I don't want to sit here and just talk shit about the officers that we served with, but on that first deployment, it's very hard to. And like the officers on the other deployments, yeah, they were, frustrating sometimes, but nowhere near as bad as that first one. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially our CO, because our lieutenant was pretty good.
Yeah.
There's one time that he really pissed us off, but I think that it was a group, it was just a heat of the moment kind of thing, like two groups going against each other, No, I have. That's before the clearing op. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, you should really watch this shit so that we know where we're at. You're fucking this all up, you fucking asshole.
Hey man, I don't think win-win.
All time happens. All time has already happened,
bro.
Yeah, so I told the story, and maybe you could elaborate on it a little bit. But I went through the play-by-play of how they dropped us off. We were hiding in that house.
Oh yeah, this is one of my.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was expecting you to jump right all over this and talk about it.
So if I remember correctly, what the idea was is that there had been people placing IEDs along this route that we take
Yep.
to go up north, right? And the idea was we're gonna have a bait patrol mounted, so because their MO was they'd blow up an IED, and then they would shoot some pop shots at us. Not just some pop shots, maybe a little bit more, like maybe try to get into a full fledged fight, but at least some shots. So the idea was to have we would rotate squads that would hide in place in the palm groves, and whenever that event happened that the ID went off on the mounted patrol, um, there would be a squad there to attack the people that were shooting. On face value, when you let's say that I'm not a captain in the United States Marine Corps, right? That sounds like a really good
Well,
idea.
it sounded like a really good idea to me because I was gone. It sounds like a
like
good
a
idea to
terrible
me
idea to me.
because
You know why?
that's the point.
If you
That's what
did
I was
it
trying to
once,
say. I
if you
didn't
did it
know that
for
you
a
guys
week,
just kept doing it over and over and over again. So I
yeah,
showed up like in the
you
middle
just
of the
showed up,
night,
right? You're
and then that was our morning patrol at like 04:30 or whenever the fuck we left the wire, and so I was like, this is a pretty good idea. We could probably kill these motherfuckers.
yeah, me too. But,
Yeah, I had
but
no
imagine
idea.
doing it for
Dude, you mentioned
I don't know, a
that
week or two.
within the last year, I think, and I was like blown away that you guys had done it so many times in a row.
Yeah, man. That's it, it's really a failure of planning and not even imagination.
Oh,
That's like 101. You want to be a hard target. You want to be a hard target. If you're going to place a
the
trap, you
same
don't
thing you
make it
did
look
4 times
like
in a row. Yeah, it's that's what I'm
exactly,
saying, man. Is
precisely.
it's like
What they did
sometimes
was
with the pubs they seem to like listen to it, but other times they just did the complete opposite because they're just not creative. I'm not gonna speculate about IQ because I think that they were probably pretty smart guys, but it just seemed like they were just
yeah.
kind of naive. Maybe I don't know. Also, I think the
I have
problem
no
was that
idea what the problem was.
those two, the XO and the CO, never left the fucking wire. That's the problem. Yeah, they weren't out there every day like
Probably.
we were. They were out there.
Also,
Yeah, but dude,
they're
still,
college
that's
dorks.
weird though, because
Bunch of fucking
I
nerds.
come from a Marine family, and I feel like when I talk to my dad about this stuff, he like doesn't even believe me how bad it was. And when I talk to other family members, they're the same way. They're
Braxton,
like
when did your dad go to
bullshit. And
school?
then
Braxton,
fucking
when did your dad go to
83.
school? All right, so it hadn't. The
Oh, so
problems hadn't
you're
taken
trying to get
place
into
yet.
like that whole thing about the education system. Yeah.
Yeah, like how college is just
Well, I think
yeah,
actually
it's fucked.
I'd say
Little background. Anyway, let's stay on point. So what I'm trying to say is that for weeks, at, at least two, we had just gone up and down this fucking this road, and what they did intelligently, because they actually are war fighters, these insurgents, didn't do anything for the entire week until they just got ED, and then they blew a fucking truck
yeah, it's
to
pretty bad.
smithereens. And then they started attacking, and then we
Yeah, I
just
know.
fucking sat there
This is
the whole. And I every fucking almost every day I think about this because it's like one of the things that um it's not a nightmare. It's like a regret. I don't know, man, because I don't think I did anything wrong because I was so outraged at the time. Like, what the fuck? Are we sitting here? Our job, our mission
well, it
is
almost
to go
and
kill these
so
guys.
what
And
bothered me about it
our
is
leaders just said no.
if we're not going to go kill these guys, then why are we here? And if we don't have a reason for being here, then those 3 guys that just got killed died for absolutely no reason at all. Which you could scale it up
For
and say the
sure.
whole war was
They died in
pointless,
vain.
but I think for us, we could have killed those dudes so they could never kill any more Marines again, and that would have been a positive takeaway from that situation.
Absolutely, man. I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, and that's why it's so aggravating is knowing that looking back on it, 2020, I don't know what I would have like. There's things that I think I should have done, and then there's the reality of what I would have done. I mean, obviously, I didn't do what I thought I should have, which was just take anyone who wanted to go.
Well,
Go
they
with
blocked the door.
disobeying
Like, we would have had to
orders.
fight our way through them.
Huh?
Like, it would have been a fist fight to get out of the house that we were in. And that's why when some of us ran up to the roof and tried to jump across the roof, but we couldn't, it was too far. So yeah, I'm with you on this, dude. It's something that bothers me a lot.
I mean, there's just all this shit. Like, I don't. I think it's like has a deep.
No, dude, go for it. That's the point of this. Because I just kind of tell the story. I don't really. I'm not the best at explaining my feelings. That's fine.
Well,
go for it.
I overshare, so I'm gonna do it then. I feel like a lot of my past before the Marine Corps and then current insecurities come from moments like that. Culmination of like, I wanted to be a Marine so bad growing up, and then I get to it, and it kind of sucks. Like everyone passed boot camp. Some people got held back, but basically no one got kicked out. Like it wasn't that tough. Then I go to the war. They fucking killer. I'm a war fighter. I'm a warrior. I got a heart of a warrior. I have the ethos. And then everyone in my leadership's a dipshit. We have a cap. This is the like it's encapsulates the problem with the current Marine Corps is that we have leadership that come up with a stupid idea of driving trucks full of vulnerable Marines up and down a fucking road nonstop for 2 weeks, and then guess what happens? They get blown up and killed, and then the people that were in place to kill the bad guys didn't do it because I don't know why. I want to say cowardice, maybe like I don't know, but it's one of those uh, life altering moments in time where of a movie, you know, like this is the stuff. This is the place where heroes are made or cowards are, you know, are exposed, and we were definitely exposed, and I've had deep seated problems since then because of it. I just feel like if I was the man that I always envisioned that I was or wanted to be, then I would have done something that day. And I've tried to make up for it since then, but the opportunity really hasn't been provided. And and those type of moments kind of nothing as big happened when we went to Iraq or Afghanistan. Not as big, but like substantial to character building. But I feel like that failure just like bled into the rest of my Marine Corps experience. Like I think that's why I didn't take it seriously because I hated staff NCOs, I hated NCOs, I hated everyone that's leadership, which is why I got NJP Article 15 twice, never got promoted, and I went on 3 deployments. You know, I just feel fucking jaded about the whole experience, and I think it's rooted in that event of watching three Marines die and having to go see their body pieces, and the whole point was to go kill the enemy, to draw out the enemy, and we didn't do it. It's just fucked. We're supposed to be the best warriors on the planet. We're not. We're not the best, and it just killed me.
Yeah, I mean, I think my views are similar to yours. The only saving grace is some of the stuff in Afghanistan that I got to do. But yeah, I had the same issue. And not to get ahead of us, but second deployment came. I was really excited to be the fire team leaders, so that kind of shit didn't happen. And then it was like the new chain of command showed up, and we're just like, "Oh, you guys went to Iraq? Yeah, fuck you." But that's a story for another day. But it's very, it was shitty because I felt the same way, and you had these guys, and like I've said, I have no hard feelings towards these people. It's obvious now, especially in hindsight, that it was their first time in heavy combat too. We were all brand new, like none of us had been in combat before. The whole company, the whole battalion, basically, except for like some of the hard dicks like Staff Sergeant Judd and fucking Staff Sergeant Kifu and shit, like some of the badasses. Oh, I know, he's fucking awesome. I love that dude so much. I'll get into him later, but yeah, and then it was like these guys.
Bad phrasing.
There became this like negative cloud towards myself, and I think you too, and like a handful of us, like we were the loose cannons. We were reckless. We were dangerous. Like we were bad or something. And so it like really came down to when it was time to come home. And I'm getting ahead, but whatever. When it was time to go back to Hawaii and train the boots that showed up, they were like, "No, these guys are out of control." It's like, out of control? Our mission was to go ambush these motherfuckers, and you guys pushed out. And then you told on us and said that we're like out of control, and like basically ruined our chances of getting promoted. Until in the future when I was allowed to be a Marine, you know what I'm saying? So that's a whole, I mean, that's fucking months away in the podcast, but it was very frustrating to have, and for me, not that, my experience is more important or anything, it was really hard just because I grew up in the Marines. So, my dad was an infantryman in the reserves, and then he was an infantry officer all the way up through the battalion. And so I was going to training ops and watching them shoot at night fire and stuff. I was so gung ho, so moto. And then, obviously my dad was at Quantico at not in the headquarters Marine Corps building, but next door, I think. And he was like, I knew exactly what was going on from fucking the day we stepped foot into Iraq until the day we stepped foot in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? And by the day America stepped foot in Iraq in 2003 until the day 2-3 Golf stepped into Iraq. And I was getting like Battle of Fallujah happened.
Yeah.
The big one, the second one happened in November. I enlisted in April. So, I enlisted 5 months later, 6 months later, and I was all about like going and kicking the shit out of these guys. And the chances that we had fucking were like stolen from us through incompetence and cowardice. And it was just like, I mean, I guess I can kind of see their stance, because it is, the whole war was kind of pointless. But yeah, I'm with you, man. That's not, I don't know if it's causing me as much emotional issues, because I feel like I proved myself later. But it's definitely one of those things where it's just like, I'm frustrated because my career was temporarily stunted and I was called a loose cannon, and my leadership was stripped later on for literally no reason at all. In my mind. I mean, maybe there's other stuff or something, but it was definitely frustrating.
No, and I get you what you're saying about like making up for it, but there's so many other times, like I've been such a dipshit that there's so many other times that, not just in combat, just in the Marine Corps in general, that I feel like I should have stepped up and I didn't. So to blame it on this one incident isn't fair. And also to give these guys some credit, like we were in some crazy shit in our first bump. So I can like, I felt like there was two mentalities that kind of emerged, and maybe that's not how this isn't how warriors should think, but I knew after 2 weeks, like I'm not coming home. I'm dead already. So I'm gonna go out with a fucking bang, like What's that saying about better to die on the
Well, there's
tracks
that,
than
but there's also the
than
whole
to
it's
slowly burn
better
away
to be
from where you're at?
tried by 12 than carried by 6. So I was very once I did
That
start
too.
shooting, which wasn't for a while because I haven't even gotten to there in the podcast. I was very loose with it, which maybe I'm a loose cannon, but at the same time, we're getting shot at from a building. Shoot at the building. Like what?
Did you talk? Yeah, did you talk about the Wadi?
No, I haven't gone there
Yeah,
yet. That's
we're
Christmas
sitting at
Day.
the TCP. Oh, Christmas Day.
Yeah,
So we
because
talked
the
about it a little
motive
bit
video was the whole deployment. It was
in
just sort
the
of, I
motive
just wanted to
video.
get
And
it
then
out
there's been
there
a
because people really want, and this is where I got to step it up a little bit. I just have 2 jobs right now, and I'm working my ass off in college. But people really want like pictures to go with what we're talking about, and so I think with the ones that aren't on YouTube yet, like I think it's 4 and 5 and 6 maybe. I do want to go in and really get my stupid old laptop to work and get any pictures I can and actually kind of show what I'm talking about a little bit better. Obviously on the podcast apps, it's just audio, so people seem to be all right with it. But yeah, that's why I wanted to put that video up because people could kind of see, they could see all the gear we're carrying, they could see how dirty everything was and how tired we were and how small we were, like fucking it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, we
I
were
mean, I was
skinny.
already small. I was probably
You
only
lost a lot of
160
weight.
pounds when we left, and then I got down to 140.
You had to be
Yeah, I
like
was 5'10", 140 pounds
yeah,
for most of
140.
that deployment because I had really bad dysentery that I couldn't get rid of, and the dysentery was just fucking horrendous, dude.
Oh my god, that's another thing. That's a fun story.
Are you talking about
Have you talked
the
about our sleep
bucket or the
deprivation?
burn shitters?
Yeah. So it would be like a 55-gallon drum cut in half, and then you
Plywood.
have like a cardboard, a plywood, bathroom stall built around it, and you would sit on the plywood and then just shit into a 55-gallon bucket. But inside the 55-gallon bucket is like 100 fucking
Millions.
people's worth of shit, and there's flies everywhere. So you feel like flies like crawling in your butthole. And then
Yeah,
you
they're
feel
like
like
in your
flies
nose,
crawling
in
into
your
your mouth
mouth,
while you're
in your eyes,
trying to breathe and
and they're just
like
like you can just
110
feel them
degrees
just
out of
crawling
it.
around your asshole. Just like fuck my life. Like this is miserable.
Yeah. So they've
Yeah,
been
it's
touching
ass to
your
mouth
butthole.
disease, man.
They've also touched your mouth and eyeballs, and that thought alone. And then you get dysentery, and then be walking around shitting
Yeah, because it wasn't
on your
like, ooh, I
pants.
have to take a shit.
It's really fun.
It was like one step, oh, I got to shit. Next step, too late. Like it was like our bodies just completely stopped being able to hold
Yeah.
anything in. It was like we were just so sickly and tired and shit. That's what you read some Vietnam books. There's a lot of books that talk about that, and they talk about how they would cut the bottom of their camis out. Which one of our guys did that? One of the fourth platoon guys. Yeah, he like made it like a
Really?
kilt almost, where so he could just shit right onto the street while he was walking. And there'd be people. There'd be like people sitting on their front doorstep, and we'd come patrolling by, and then a
That's
marine
great.
would just squat and just spray shit all over their fucking doorstep, and then just keep walking. Not getting out of formation at all. Like the formation wouldn't even slow down. It's so fucked up.
Hey, hey, to to their to their just help like give them a break. Like
Oh, I know, but
those
still, it's
people's
just
shit
like
was literally running through the streets.
it's
So
like just I don't know. It's just crazy because like imagine seeing that in America. Like you're sitting on your stoop, and all of a sudden somebody comes walking by and just spray shits like right in your front yard, and then just keeps walking, like doesn't even look at you or talk to you. Yeah, yeah,
no, a
big
bunch
dudes
of
that
guys
look
with
different than
guns.
you. White man, the white man coming through, just shit on your fucking front lawn. It's like, oh my god, Like, Marines are not the people to send to be friends with people. We're like a pit bull that you just beat the shit out of, and then you let it attack an intruder in your junkyard. You know, it's not. We're not there. I don't know. The thing is that we're surprisingly good at being nice to people, but we're just rough around the edges. You know, like we really care about people. Like the 2 Bronze Stars that were given out that deployment for 2-3, they're both in Fox Company. Both of them were Marines that got shot multiple times, saving innocent civilians, women and children. None of them were saving other Marines. It was, so it's not, like I said, we're just rough around the edges. I think the average Marine is an idealist and really believes in what we're doing and right and wrong and shit. I think with bad leadership like what we had, things started getting a little squirrely. People started doing some fucked up shit, but I think for the most part, the average Marine isn't like that. I wish we had Echo CO for that deployment.
Well, I like to think that.
He won the Leftwich Trophy, Captain Tracy. He's he's the main character of that book, Angels of Anbar. Which I keep bringing this up. I gotta look up the fucking author. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good. I read it.
Yeah, I've never read that.
Angles of Anbar. I misspelled it. Ed. Crap. What was it? Come on. Ed Darack. Darack. Huh?
Now, how does he know about this? How does he know?
He was embedded with Echo Company.
The author.
Yeah, like he got embedded when we were at like 29 Palms. I don't know. Read the book. I could get that a little bit wrong, but it was known that Echo Company was going to be the main effort for that deployment, so he got embedded with that company, with Echo. And I'm assuming they knew that he was going to be the main effort because Captain Tracy wasn't a fucking idiot like our captain. We can't. I'm not bringing it up anymore. Anyways, it's only slander if it's not true. That's the way the law's written. So we're good. And if we need evidence, if we need evidence and witnesses, I'm sure we could find people to testify against that guy. Yeah, I think he came up to my post one time on post 7, that entire deployment, and he like came running across the rooftop and like barged in like he was afraid he was going to get hit on his way over. He had earplugs in. He's just such a pussy. I'm like, dude, how are you a captain in the Marines? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I walk across this roof 4 times a day, and then I stand in this box all day. And when the base gets attacked, you know where I go? I walk out on that roof so I can see what the hell's going on. I don't run across like I'm afraid. I don't know. It was just weird. And maybe we were just broken mentally, but my mentality was like, well, if I get killed, I get killed, and then I don't have to worry about it. You know, like it was just sort of like, if I'm dead, then I don't have to worry about it. Whatever. Then if I accidentally tag a civilian, it's like, well, if it was a little boy or girl, they're probably going to have bad things done to them their whole life by their male older counterparts, or you know what I'm saying? Like it was just like I haven't talked about their culture at all. This is probably the first time that I've even brought it up. I talked about it very, very briefly, that they're different than us. Their moral system's a lot different than ours, and pedophilia and rape are part of their culture. No matter what anybody says, it is part of their culture. So, yeah, that's the end of that statement.
A big culture shock for me was watching like mentally handicapped kids, like just retarded kids, locked
or just left in the alleyways to live with a pack of dogs. I mean, there's that one kid that like thought he was a dog, and everybody just let him. You know, yeah, they don't. Well, they have their
Hey, crawl around on
so
all
I've said
fours.
this before, and people
Naked.
I think, or I've argued with people about it. I think their religion causes a sort of nihilism, like an artificial nihilism. Like they don't know they're nihilists. What's up?
Oh, we talked about this
Yeah,
a
but I
lot.
think that their
We talked
religion
about
is
this a lot.
so they adhere to it so strongly, and you could probably make a connection with like the predeterminists, in the American past, whoever that was, the Quakers or the Puritans or whatever. But it's almost like life to them is just a waste of time. They're just waiting to get to the afterlife. So everything they do in this life doesn't matter. And they're like, well, my wife pissed me off, so I take her out back and I shoot her. Well, the gun went off, so obviously Allah wanted it to happen. Like it's just sort of like, meh, nothing means anything. Like life to them isn't that important. They care a lot more
Oh
about
yeah.
their sons and their daughters. Like it's pretty fucked up.
Before 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 Riley got hit, he told us a story about how he's just like watching a little kid, and the little kid like looks at him, waves, and then runs off, and then he walks closer, and the kid is like stabbing a kitten with scissors, and then as Riley walks by, like shocked, like this kid is murdering a kitten gruesomely, the kid just
Yeah,
like looks at him and smiles, like
yeah.
he
They
thought it was all fun, like it was
which
just
and
a
so
little
for
game that
that
they were
it's
playing.
like
It's
there's a
really
type of person that would be like, well, that's because the war's been raging around him. It's like, well, Saddam wasn't much better. Like their life's been pretty fucked up for a long time. You know. Oh, it is. They're tough people, but
oh yeah,
they have
it's rough
become,
living out
like
there.
I said, I think that they have just sort of become nihilists. I think that they honestly don't think that any of their actions matter as long as they love Allah. Because if you read the Quran, that's kind of how it's written. But I think it just justifies all their actions in their mind.
Well, I would really like to learn
I've
a lot
read
more
about
about
three
it
quarters of the
before
Quran, and
I
so
comment too
I know
strongly.
what it says,
But
and
we
it's
could we might
not saying much besides some people are good because they believe in Allah, and everybody else sucks because they don't. That's basically the whole book. It's pretty. I don't know. I implore everybody listening to this to read that.
well that's that's a good religion then, because it has a
Oh, it's
strong incentive to be Islamic then, which is where I think this is where when we have arguments about this is where it would differ, is that I don't think it's nihilism necessarily. I just think it's an evolutionary strategy to like look how cohesive it is and how easily it
well,
can
yeah,
spread.
because
I mean, if you look at how
it's like an anthill, dude.
like
You got
marriage works,
you got worker drones that have no
yeah,
chance of meeting
it's
a
compete.
wife because only the powerful have multiple wives. So you have a whole you have generations of disenfranchised young men who, when men don't have things to have sex with, they find things to have sex with, which is unfortunately not young women. It's usually other stuff. But then also they fucking become super violent,
But
and they
but the
spread in every
primary,
direction, and they take what they don't have back home, which is evident
yeah,
if you look at anything that happened in. Yeah, I mean, so
exactly,
yeah, but this isn't. I'm not trying to get super into this part,
exactly.
but this is the kind of stuff that we thought about when we were patrolling and when we were being yelled at by the generals to not change their culture. And we're sitting there and we're basically having to accept a culture that's okay with raping women, and then coming home and being accused of being part of some sort of rape culture patriarchy here. But like that's actually the culture that we were trying to fix and change,
Oh yeah, it's maddening.
and while being told not to, but we were trying to. I don't know, there's just a lot of confusion, and at the end of the day, all that mattered was we were trying to make it back on that patrol. We were just trying to get to the base, and then one day we were going to get on that big plane home, and that was that was it. Like the politics of the war. Most people don't even think about it either. What's up?
Well, Braxton, I know you didn't believe that. No, Braxton, I
I
know
wanted
you
to kill
didn't
as many
believe that.
people as
You
I
wanted to
could because
complete
I
the
really
mission, man.
believed in
I did too.
the mission. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I believed in the long war. I believed that there was a culture spreading across the world, and that us being in Iraq was keeping it from coming to America and or keeping it coming to. Well, I think in the last couple of years we've done a little
Did
bit
it
better,
work?
but there's definitely people trying to bring that kind of stuff to Europe with the decisions that they make, and they have to deal with terrible terrorist attacks now. But us being there
Yeah, look at France. Oh
didn't
boy.
slow it down at all. And also, it became okay. So basically, in my mind, I was envisioning what the generals
What?
told us: we're going to Iraq because all these jihadists are going there to fight us and have a jihad. Righteous, cool. Two warring factions, whatever. But then we got there, and it became obvious that it's just the average Joe fighting us. They're just trying to get us to leave their country. They're just people, and we're not trying to change their culture. But we're here. I don't. It just and everything just went out the window, and nothing made sense. None of our orders made
Yeah.
sense. None of our missions made sense. Very rarely. But yeah, hardly. Yeah. So I don't know. We were. Yeah.
We were
That's
there
a
for
two
the we were
four.
there for
Two
the
four was
surge,
part of the surge.
and the surge was
They
it was
were.
basically the idea. I think was what you're going to do is you're going to either kill or take as many prisoners as possible, and then we're
Which
going
is
to
kind of what we
either
did, and
prosecute
that's
them
what
or flip them
a
to
lot of
work for us.
IPs were basically giving. What's up?
Yeah, but that caused problems later down the road.
Yeah, but in the long run, apparently they were able to fight
That
off
caused problems
ISIS.
later down the road.
When ISIS came through, they
It's a
never
bad
took
plan.
Haditha. The Haditha triad didn't fall to
Haditha,
ISIS.
sure, but what
Everything
about the
else
rest
did.
of the country?
Oh yeah, but I don't know, man.
What
I
about the
think
rest of the
that
country?
maybe removing Saddam was a mistake in the long run. I'm all for killing people, but you know, just know that yeah,
Agreed.
he's a ruthless guy, but he's in charge of a maximum security prison, you know? Like the dude, it's the crazy skinhead with a swastika tattoo on his eyelids that's fucking the head of the maximum security prison, you know? It isn't the guy who's nice and wants to know everybody's name, you know? It's those people are hard fucking it's like Russia, you know? Like you ever met a Russian? They're fucking crazy.
Absolutely.
They'll beat the shit out of you after drinking like 3 glasses or 3 fucking bottles of vodka. And so you got to have a guy that's pretty ruthless to be in charge of a country like that. So they're different than us.
Absolutely. I told you that story.
Saddam. Oh
You
yeah,
know the story
it's
of
a
how he
good
came
one.
to power.
But
Yeah. I implore people that don't know that are
the
listening
video is insane. It's amazing.
to go listen to it. It's insane.
It sends chills
It's
down my back.
oh, for sure. He's he's an evil genius, man. And yeah, he's an evil genius. Go look it up. Basically, he gets everyone that's part of the government into a room, and he's been tortured for days, and under the pretense that he was a subversive uh, agent trying to take over the government, and they torture him and they convince
It's
him
just a list
to
of everybody
start
in the room.
naming other people that were co-conspirators. So as basically just a list of, yeah, exactly. And he just stops halfway through. And what ends up happening is that Saddam's there smoking a cigar, like just fucking chilling while this guy's naming off names. And one by one, like he'll name a name, and then the guards will come out and just grab this dude and bring him out. And it gets to about half the room where this petrified dude that's been tortured just starts naming names, guards come out and start grabbing people by that name. And as they're grabbing people, people are like standing up, like, "Hail Saddam! Hail Saddam! All hail!" Like, just like our glorious leader Saddam. And Saddam's not even, doesn't give a fuck. He's just smoking a cigar. This guy, and the crowd gets crazier and crazier until it's like they're all just swimming for Saddam, and until so they take the rest of the half of the people out of the room outside, and they just give them guns, and they say, "Kill these people that were subversives." And
They
there's
just
no
did a
evidence at all
perfect
that they were subversives.
psychological nightmare.
Random people that would happen to be in a room. Yeah, and there's like hundreds of people.
Yeah, no,
It's
Iraq.
like 100
The
people in
history
there.
of Iraq,
So they
like
just killed
the history of Iraq's pretty
like
interesting.
dozens of
Like
people.
Saddam was part of an assassination attempt, and he got wounded by his own guy because they were on both sides of the car. They like killed the Shah or the king or whatever, and he got like lit up with a submachine gun or some shit. Like, but he was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, that's why you don't have
so
people on both
all right.
sides.
I think that's a good note.
Gotta
We're coming up
alternate
on an
the angle.
hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. But thanks for listening. What's up? Hurry up.
Hey Braxton. Hey, I know. I just want to say, like, we need to get more linear.
Okay, yeah,
next
we'll
time,
talk
'cause I
about
feel like
it
we're
in
getting
a
all over
second.
the place. Maybe that's good.
But
I don't know, but hopefully,
yeah, if you like this stuff,
hopefully no
subscribe,
more
share it with
rambling.
your friends, talk about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments if you can, and have a good night. Goodbye.
Feedback.